Welcome, welcome, welcome to another meeting. How are you doing? How has it been? It's Thursday, so that means tomorrow is weekend. For me, it means tomorrow I have a wedding to attend. So I'm in full swing. I'm in full modus of getting myself prepared for the wedding. I also had to make a beverage for the wedding. So I know you cannot see it, but darling, I'm telling you, my kitchen right now, it's full. I'm surrounded by the beverage because it has to cool down. Yesterday, in a bucket, I poured grated ginger and like almost 10 liters of water, so it becomes like a tea because it has to steep. And now I have to sift everything, drain everything to take the ginger parts out, and then I have to flavor it with sugar and pimento and cloves. It's gonna be delicious. So from now on, because it's a meeting and I want to take this stuff serious and be professional and do it as best as I can, I think we should work with like topics, like agenda points that we want to go through for the meeting. I'm getting more and more how can I say it? Not only excited, but I can see the vision more clearly for this platform. I see it as an organization where we as housewives come together, where we can host events. It can be international. I want it to be international because I want it to be all the housewives that we can get, where we can learn from one another. We can really create friendships. We can go out of town together, go to different states and cities, and meet up and have coffee and have afternoon tea, shop together. I'm not alone, by the way, today. I know it's a club meeting, but my husband has a week off from work. The baby is home and my son is home, and he's eating everything that he should not be eating. Let me get this sorted. Bobo? He's taking fruits out of the fruit basket. And now, like these wild peaches. So I'm gonna hide mine because I want a wild peach. But yeah, I want to take it serious, and I'm going to take it serious, and I'm taking it serious because I'm already making notes. We have to have agenda points of what we are going to do and how we want to go around it. Like I said, really want to have friendships where we can see each other in real life, and we can, because we know one another, we can have group apps or Facebook groups or places where we can chat, and we individually can talk to one another, and we can really meet up and have coffee, have tea. Maybe if somebody is traveling to Amsterdam or traveling elsewhere where one of our members are, then it's nice if we can meet up and really just have fun and go to the museum, go shopping, go antique shopping, and do all the things we love and create a stronger bond. So from now on, I'm going to do agenda points. I will post agenda points, let's say a day before, so that you can always also think about what we are going to discuss. Maybe you want to add something to it so I can read it in the comments. So this place will be less less vlogging content, not so much a lot of cooking content. If you like to have cooking, then it will be tied to the club meetings, and maybe I want to share something that I make, but I'm trying to keep that to Substack and maybe Instagram or YouTube Shorts. Even with my makeup, I will always place the details down below, just because so you can see what I'm using. But I really want to take this serious and be professional and see the future for this platform. So I think I should separate these things. Even though we need makeup brands to work with us, we need, sponsorships, donations. I want to move more to a philanthropy type of situation, meaning an organization where we as housewives come together, and as a collective we are going to get money for charities we want to support, or things we want to host, events or day trips or week trips or speaking engagements, or even bringing people on the channel. I was thinking about, today we are going to talk about why do you want to become a housewife, what was your inspiration, and who inspires you as a housewife or for a woman in your life, or female. It could be fictive, it could be a celebrity or entertainer, somebody who's on a public platform. Because it's nice if we can create a budget where we can talk to housewives that are doing it, that have been doing it for a long time, or maybe are in the public eye, or date a high profile person, so that we can just talk and see from their eyes how they experience being a housewife, and what they why they chose this lifestyle. Was it by accident, or was it intentional? Is it something they always wanted to do or pursue? Or was it just because they started having children that they said, I want to be at home with my children? So I was thinking about, let's say, for instance, I love Leonora Smith. To me, she's like the modern Stepford wife, just without the condescending part, and she's doing what her husband is asking from her in a condescending way. Just the tasks, the role that she takes on with the hosting and the cooking and the luxurious lifestyle, and how she presents herself. I love her, but I also love her mother, because her mother is, has more experience, and she knows interior design, and she knows a lot of things that I think would be great for our platform, to see if we can, book a interview with them. And that, for instance, I go to England and go meet up with them and do the interview, hire a professional team to capture this footage, and maybe we can exclusively only post it somewhere, maybe on our website that is being built currently, that only members can see this. And she can talk candidly about how is it to be a housewife with a husband that is influential or has a high demanding job. What does it mean? What does it entail? What is expected from you? How do you present yourself? How do you raise your children if you have them in such an environment where, maybe you see your husband every other day, or so I want to also invest in these things. So, like I said, we are all contributing to this platform. I might be just the face, the public person that is going out, but I'm not doing this by myself, nor do I want to do this by myself. I want to have a team. I want to have great females around me, that we can really build this platform. I want to talk to, let's say, a Nene Leakes. Great, she was a housewife, and she came on, the reality show, The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's talk to her. Let's see how she is coping now that Greg is gone. Greg has died. It was her husband. How is she transitioning from being a housewife now to be a provider? And I want to know, because these are things that might happen to us. We might be in a relationship with, your significant other, your husband, where he is way older than you, or he's sick and he's the first one to die. How do you cope with that? I mean, my husband is 15 years older than me, and not too long ago, when I was reconnecting with my friend from university, she was asking me, and how are you and your husband doing? Because do you notice that he's getting older? Is everything still functioning the same way? Is he getting slower, or is he getting sick? Do you know the symptoms of him, being older than you? And I'm like, no, I haven't noticed that. He's still the same. He's still active. Everything is still working. He's not waking up with a pain in his, legs or knee or back, So I'm very blessed in that regard, that my husband is older, but his body is strong and he's still functioning like somebody who is my age. But these things really do come to mind when somebody presents the question to you, like, wow, of course, my husband is older. If we go by the one who's older will die first, that means I might be staying by myself alone for a long time and be a widow. Let's be honest, that is what happened to Nini. Nini is in her 50s. Greg is gone. And if Nini will live till she's 90, she will be by herself for a long time. How do you cope with that? So these are the things I want to add onto this platform. And I'm putting it out here because that's what I like of being a charity or a philanthropy, or however you want to call it, an organization, a non-profit organization. It's transparent. The members need to know what's going on. That's why you have a newsletter, so that you can always know what's going on, where the money is going, where are we, investing in, what are the goals for the upcoming year, months, 10 years down the line. So I'm sharing this with you because maybe you are a housewife, but your husband is connected because of his job or friends, or maybe you are family with somebody who is a influential housewife. It could be somebody who is not a celebrity, but maybe you are working somewhere else with your influence. Let me just say, like a Phyllis Schlafly. Phyllis Schlafly. She was also a housewife, but she had a lot of influence in politics, and she wanted the housewives to be housewives, and she didn't like the feminists moving in a certain way. So it's maybe you are such a housewife that has power in certain districts or certain area or certain countries because you want to fight for certain rights. So I want to put it out there because maybe you can think with us, not maybe, you should think with us how we can lift this off the ground and be as influential and powerful and useful to the crew, to the group, to all the members, but also to society. So these are the things I can think of for now. Also, I was talking to my friend. Her name is, I don't think she minds me telling her name, Anusha. We call her Snooze. Snooze, she's helped me in the background. I was telling her that I want to work with YSL Beauty. Beauty, food, that's my department. A little bit, entertainment, that is what I like. These are my interests. Fashion as well, but I'm not the best dressed person or anything, but makeup I know. And I was watching Call Her Daddy podcast. I don't watch a lot of her podcasts, but I think Kim Kardashian was on there. And during the podcast, she was reading an ad or sponsorship by YSL. Yves Saint Laurent Beauty about domestic violence and how YSL Beauty is busy educating people on domestic violence, that 1 or 3 women will encounter domestic violence, and how can they improve their influence so that they globally can work on awareness and making sure women or victims from domestic violence know where to go, which hotline to call, what are the outlets to make it more visible. So for me, it's something very dear to my heart because I am a domestic violence survivor. When I was younger, the age of almost 16, I ended a relationship with my then boyfriend, and after 3 years of being into that relationship, the relationship became very violent, and that's why I left the relationships like 18 months later, I think, something like that. So meaning I was in a relationship for almost 5 years, and the last 18 months were very violent, and that's why I left. So domestic violence is always something that is dear to my heart, because I always want women to make better decisions in the husband they choose or boyfriend they choose, because this is your life we're talking about, and the person you will marry or be in a relationship with will kind of, let me not say determine it, but it will influence how you will blossom, or if you even blossom in life. I always say I couldn't be this person if I wasn't with my husband. It wouldn't be possible. I have to give him credit and grace, because if he wanted me to work, if he wanted me to do certain things, or he was violent towards me, he didn't accept me for who I am, he would have forced me to be whatever he wanted me to be, I couldn't be myself, and I couldn't be standing here, because he would be a roadblock, because he would see the vision, he would see the potential, he would see me flourish, and that would have intimidated him, and that's why he wouldn't allow me to do this if he was such a person. But if you have a person who really loves you, like the way my husband loves me, he will let you completely be free. Freedom doesn't mean that you will take advantage of freedom in a wrong way, because when I say, or last year or 2 years ago when I was making relationship videos, and I said in one of these videos, being in a relationship means that you are free, and your freedom should be the most important thing in a relationship. A lot of people, and mostly men, were scared, and they were telling me I was crazy, because people always think freedom means taking advantage, doing stupid stuff. Freedom means somebody should be able to trust you to make the right decisions. That is being an adult. It's the same way I would tell my children, I trust you not to go this way, or that you will be home by a certain time, or I trust you to make right decisions. The same way it is in a relationship. My husband trusts me that I make right decisions. And it's for me to not break this trust or taint this trust. Of course, sometimes I make decisions that are not great, but it is not that effective in the sense that it will shake the marriage. When I make mistakes, it could be, oh, I probably should have spent money on that. And I mean, like, I should have made different financial decisions, or maybe it wasn't a great idea to bring the children into this environment, because there weren't a lot of adults there that would, take care of the children or make sure the children were okay. These things can happen because you're a new mom, maybe you're a new wife, you're learning things, but he gives me grace and he's like, it's okay, we will figure it out, or next time let's not do that again because I don't feel comfortable doing that, or you've seen what happened last time, let's try to do this differently. So when I say free, I don't mean to go cheat or, do things that really will dismantle your marriage and will break that up. But it's something that's very triggering to people when you say a relationship should mean that you are free. And they always think the worst. So for me, it's very important to talk on this subject because I am a survivor. Yes, I was a victim, but I've survived. I'm still living. I didn't give him a chance to end my life because I've listened to people that been through it, and there are certain steps that you should take when you leave that relationship to protect yourself and your life. So I always feel that I can be of service within that field. Just by sharing my story, I don't know not a lot about it because there are different situations. There are people that are married, they live together, they have children, so that is even more complex. I was not living with this person, we were not married, I didn't have children with this person. So this is totally different from these other scenarios that I was just talking about. But still, I can be of service because there are a lot of young girls or young boys who step into a relationship and they lose themselves in that relation because you are so young. You don't have the willpower yet to say no. You have peer pressure, you have manipulation, you have abandonment issues, or all these things. When you're young, you're just so fragile and you're more prone to fall victim for domestic violence, and people don't understand, but you don't live with that person, so you can just walk away. How can you be in that relationship? They don't understand because you don't live together. So when does this person have access to you to manipulate you, abuse you? But there's enough time and ways to manipulate and abuse somebody even though you're not living together. It's about the mental control that somebody has over you. So that's why I really want to work on getting a deal or something we can work on, so that in October, when it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, that we can really do something. And it might be virtual, or even do something in an event where we can talk about these things and bring housewives together that might suffer domestic violence and that survived and they rebuilt their life, even maybe got remarried and remained a housewife, and can show you that it's not about being a housewife, but it's about the person you marry and how you create boundaries and how you present yourself in a marriage, so that you both get out of the marriage what you want and what you need. Because a lot of people find it strange that I was abused by a man or a boy, however you want to call it, but then go into a relationship or a marriage where I am depending on my husband. They think it's weird because they feel like you've been abused. Men are not to be trusted. Why would you put yourself in a situation where you can be a victim again and you are solely depending on a man? But I tell them, that was my dream. My dream is to be a housewife. That is what I love to do. So why would I let my first boyfriend take that dream away from me because he was a bad steward? Because he was a bad steward. He didn't know how to be with me. He did not know how to treat somebody who loves you. He might not have loved me, but I loved him, and he didn't know how to handle that. And that is not my problem. My problem is that I need to find somebody that loves me and that lets me be free and let me be myself and accepts me for who I am. That was the problem. The problem was not being financially depending on him, because I wasn't dependent on him. It was just looking for love in the wrong place, because I didn't know what love was. So the first person that gave me attention, that was the person I was drawn to. But he didn't know how to handle my love, meaning he didn't know how to love somebody, nurture somebody, cater to somebody, appreciate somebody that has patience for him, kindness, forgiveness, that will help him to be the best version of him, to think with him, to push him to become better, to hold his hand. He didn't understand that because he also had issues with his mother, and he probably never experienced that type of love before. And he, instead of embracing it, he destroyed it. So I really want to champion, maybe you know somebody working at YSL, just let them know that Lady Debi really want to work with them, because I also love YSL as a beauty brand, because like I said, I love beauty. I'm a trained makeup artist. I haven't done makeup professionally for over 10 years, but that doesn't stop my love. I'm just not a makeup artist. I'm just a beauty fanatic, a makeup fanatic. I love to look good. I love to look presentable. And I think it's a great initiative from YSL to do something like that. And in the past, I bought a lot of YSL products. So this is a great way for me to also buy the products, but also support a great cause. So I'm putting it out there because I want to see what you can do with it, and let me know in the comments. Maybe somebody of YSL representative is watching me. Hi, I'm letting you know I want to work. I want to be of service. So details down below if you want to contact me. I'm going to make sure we put our email address in there so that we can work. And this also is not only for YSL. If there are other brands that champion women, cater to housewives, because let's be honest, we are housewives, and being a housewife is special because you cater to the people you love, but also you cater to people, children that are helpless. They cannot do anything for themselves. So we are here to help them. And that's a very selfless act because we are not getting paid. And so people will say, yeah, but your husband can pay you. Of course, if your husband has the means to give you, you know, a allowance, or just say a salary, I don't know how you want to call it, but he gives you a budget so that you can, you know, provide for your own needs. That's great, but that's not everybody's situation. Not every housewife has that budget because maybe their husband is just making enough, or they ran into financial struggles, or there can be so many reasons why there is not a budget for a housewife to take care of her. And I think we as a group should, you know, do something about that. See who has a hard time, because we are not getting paid. And of course, if you were married well off, that's great. But sometimes that is not everybody's experience. And even though your husband takes care of you, it's nice that you can have, you know, your own little money so that you can take care of yourself. So maybe we can work with brands so that we can make goodie bags for maybe Christmas or Thanksgiving, to appreciate the housewives for doing the work without getting a salary, without getting, you know, paid leave, off days, vacation, bonuses. everything that you will get if you are working for working a job. So let's see what we can do with that. I was thinking about goodie bags, working with brands, tell them like, hey, we housewives, we are also here. So maybe you can do something to support us, our group, that we as housewives feel appreciated by society, apart from our husbands, our children, by society as a thank you for doing, something very selfless, because it's very selfless. And I think we should get appreciation for that, instead of people attacking housewives or being lazy or dumb, gold diggers, or just being stupid for putting our trust in our husbands. So I think it would be nice to work with brands and to see that they are also catering to this group that is really forgotten. It's a forgotten group. So I think it's very important that we can also be a part of that. Talk to brands. Maybe, connect with them. Tell them we are housewives. We are working hard. We are not to complain, but to be celebrated, and something that is a very selfless act, to just remove yourself from the working field and going home, build a family, and really serve your family without thinking about, I'm getting money for this and money is my motivator. And that's why it's very hard for me to really be a businesswoman, because I'm never money driven. That's why I never was that successful, meaning that I made a lot of money. Meanwhile, when people look at me, they're like, you have pretty privilege, you can make a lot of money. But money is not my God. I don't drive harder, run harder because money is involved. I just like this, being a friend, seeing how we can connect with brands, just to have to build with brands and have them as sponsors. And when we do events or do charity for Thanksgiving, even though I'm not in the States, I think Thanksgiving would be a great day to also give thanks to the housewives. I know it has another meaning. It has to do, I think, with founding fathers and and all that stuff. But it's also a way to thank people around you. But also maybe during Christmas, when the housewives that have a harder time, if we can connect with brands and send out goodie bags as a team, because we all have our members, their information, their email, if you have subscribed. And I will leave all the details in time, because we are still busy with the newsletter where you can subscribe to, so we can collect all your information. So if we know from one of our members that they are having a hard time, so that we can send out goodie bags and talk to brands like, hey, we have a housewife, she just gave birth, the birth was maybe, it didn't go as planned, they had a C-section, but she's having a rough start. But it would be nice if we can get some goodies, so that we can pamper her, maybe get some makeup, some nice PJs, nice basket, maybe something for the baby, something with initials. I'm thinking about that type of stuff, and that is how I want to use my power. And I'm asking you to think with me, to help me. Maybe somebody, maybe you are connected with your friend, maybe your best friend is not a housewife, but she's working and she built an amazing brand, and you will share with her what I just shared with you, and she's like, I love the initiative helping housewives, because she sees you working and see what you are doing, and maybe she's like, I feel so connected. Or maybe her mom was a housewife, because a lot of people are connected to housewives without them knowing, or maybe they do know, but they didn't see the best of a housewife, because maybe the husband was abusive, or the husband was the pressure was too much for him. That's why he started drinking, or they were living in poverty. Maybe they have these experiences, but nonetheless, the housewife did the work, and they also contributed to who they are today, because there are a lot of housewives that create working women. Let's be honest. But there are also working women that create housewives, just like me, because that's what today is about. Why are you a housewife? What made you want to become a housewife in a time where being a housewife is not a conversation? It is not like the olden days where you go to school as a woman, and by the time you get married, you are forced to get out of school, where everybody around you was getting married, were having babies at a young age. You see your mom still having babies in her 40s, and you have 12 siblings. We live in a different environment. You don't see that anymore. Everything is working, boss babe, girl boss, independent women, songs, films, series. It's all about women achieving a lot in life, and sometimes better than men because they are more driven. So what made you decide to say, I want to be at home, I want to be a homemaker, I want to be a housewife? What was your drive or your motivation, or maybe your inspiration for that? For me, it was my mother, which is weird because she was a working mom, but I saw her work so hard every day, 5 days a week, for over 40 years for the same company, and she was overwhelmed. She would not say it, but I would see how overwhelmed she was. She had a hard time catching up. Most of the time we were living in chaos, meaning the house wasn't in order. There was not a lot of order. There was no structure, because she was just too overwhelmed with it all, because she was a divorcee growing up in the Netherlands. She had no mother here. Her siblings weren't here. It was not like, okay, but I'm going to work, you are going to stay with your grandmother. That was not the case. And from what I recall, I don't think her mother was a working woman. I don't know, but I think she was at home with the children, because she was pregnant by the age of 15, so very young. And by the time, I think she was, at least she had 12 children in her lifetime. So I don't think she was a working mother. She created my mother, who was a working mother. My mom then created me, who I am a housewife. But because I saw her working, being overwhelmed, being stressed, not having a lot of time, also not a lot of patience and a lot of love, because even I notice when I am doing too much, and maybe you can relate, if I'm doing too much and I'm tired, maybe I didn't rest well, I didn't take care of myself enough, by the time it's a certain time in a day, let's say 5 o'clock, the noises that my children are making are the normal noises they are making. But when I didn't sleep well, these noises are just being magnified, and they become so loud, and my brain is overstimulated. And that's when I start being cranky, snappy, irritated, frustrated. And I'm happy that I caught myself, or that I catch myself every time when I fall into that state, because that's the moment where I say, and that's why I'm happy that I have a husband that returns home every day. I be like, babe, I cannot take it anymore. You take care of the children. I'm going to shower and call it a day. I'm done. And I'm grateful that I feel comfortable enough to tell him, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. I cannot take it. My mom didn't have that. She was constantly in that state, constantly irritated, frustrated, because she was just doing too much. It was too much for her. But there was no way that she could fall back on anybody. So seeing that and loving my mother, because I love her, she's a woman just like me, I always wished for her that she would have help, that she was in a place of peace where she could be herself and enjoy life, because I saw other women who were maybe working only part-time, but they were enjoying themselves. They were working maybe 2 or 3 times a day. They were going on a holiday. Their body, they had time to work out, to eat healthy, to be relaxed. They were all, let's say I was playing with a friend and I would go to their home, their mom was always nice, and she was talking in a calm voice, very loving and kind and patient. When my mom wasn't, which a lot of women in the Surinamese culture are not that patient, not because they don't have love, but they're just tired. They are tired, they are stressed. So now I understand in which state my mom was, because I can catch it with myself, like, whoa, I'm tired, this is too much, I need to step out. So that inspired me. And also she had friends that were Moroccan who were stay-at-home moms. I don't know if they enjoyed being stay-at-home moms or housewives, but that is what they were. And I saw their home always being organized. There was structure. They were always cooking. The husbands took care of everything. If something was broken in the home, they would tell their husband and it would be replaced very soon. It could have been the next day or this in that week. If they wanted to change the decor in the home, there was a budget for that. If they wanted to go on a holiday, there was a budget for that. They had a good life. I don't know if they enjoyed that life, but that is what I saw. And I'm like, why doesn't my mom have this? She looks good. She is a very attractive woman, very classy, very beautiful. But why didn't somebody love her in that matter, that she could have been the woman that God intended her to be? That is what my mindset was, because maybe she's like, my life is perfect. I don't know what you are talking about. But that is what I have observed. And that is what I experienced. So I wanted to do it differently. And of course, watching movies, it being glamorized, being at home, baking the cookies for the children, greeting them when they're at home, it worked on me. The marketing worked on me, because also I love to do these things. I love to cook. I love to bake. I love to do my makeup. I love to create from home. I love to be with children. I love to clean. I wish I had more time to do it, or I don't wish, I have to manage my time differently, but that's for another video. But I love to do all these things, and I just made this my work because I love it. I was already doing it and I love it. So she was my inspiration. Even though she is not a housewife, she inspired me, to choose for myself, to choose what's best for me. Because if I would be working and being a mom and a wife, I would be the worst person I could be, because it would have been too much. And I'm an overachiever. I always want to be perfect. I don't want to disappoint people. And I would be so unhappy, because I would always fall short, because I just wouldn't have the strength, the patience, the love for it. So that's why I am who I am, and that's why I chose this lifestyle. Every day I'm so proud of myself that I was so courageous to tell my then boyfriend, who is now my husband, not the one I was talking about, but my husband who I was dating 10 years ago. I told him, if you want to be with me, this is what you need to do, because I want to be a housewife. And He didn't object, but I wasn't ready at the time to be with him. But I told him, do not criticize my life, because I'm living my life exactly how I want to live it. But if you want to be with me, I want to do something different, and that's being a housewife. And if your intention is not to be with me, then don't criticize what I'm doing today, because I'm single. I'm doing my own thing. If I'm with you, this is what I want. Okay? So I'm so happy that I did that, because I was 24 at the time. He was 39. Me, my little itty bitty self, will tell a 39-year-old man, get your money up. This is when I want to be your girlfriend, because this is how I want to live. And he did it. So I have to round up, because it's almost an hour, and the girls are having a tropical school schedule, so they're out early. But I want to finish this up, because this is my club and I want to be, present. So I want you to think about, why am I a housewife? Do I really love this? What is my intention? What is my vision for being a housewife? How do I see my life evolving? Are you still going to be a housewife, or is this just you're a stay-at-home mom? Because I think being a stay-at-home mom and a housewife are two separate things. You are a stay-at-home mom because you want to raise your children, but probably after the children are grown, you are going back into the workforce. That is not the case for me. I'm not going back on the workforce, because I love being a housewife. I chose to be a housewife. My choice was not to be a stay-at-home mom. It's just it's part of it, but that is not my main focus. I love being a housewife, and I'm always going to be a housewife, even if I'm 90 years old, because that is what I love to do. So I want you to figure out, why are you a housewife? Share that in the comments if you're not scared. If not, send a DM and I might read it on here, because I want you all to be motivated and inspired by one another, that you see the beauty of what it means, supporting your husband, being of service to your family, your friends, your community, the time you have regained by not having a regular job, meaning you have time to connect with women, really have human connections, bonds for life, really enjoy life, be present, seeing your children grow and evolve, seeing your marriage evolve, really invest in the time. You can dissect everything and correct yourself so that you can grow and be better. You have time to read books and do research, listen to people, ask people questions. There's so much beauty in being a housewife, apart from the conversation that people are having about housewives without being a housewife. You can, be a part of the school board, really be present to see what's going on in school, how they can, better the educational system in your area. You can, start organizations, Girl Scout, cooking clubs, book clubs. You can do so much because you are at home and you have time to create knitting clubs, sewing clubs. There's so much to do apart from just having a job. I think people just don't understand that having a job is just one thing. There is so much you can do outside working. But because people's minds don't go there, they're only thinking about, a job. And that's the only way that you can be in society and have social contacts and be, useful. But there are so many other ways. Some people will be volunteers at the church or cooks at the church. There's so many things you can do. You can help children swim by giving them swimming lessons, Bible study. There is so much you can do, And I think it's great for us to have the conversations. And if you are a housewife and you just want to be at home and make that beautiful, that is also a very beautiful and effective trait. You know, knowing how to do the interior design, how to host and tablescaping. It can help other people. You bring other people joy when you invite people over to have dinner or tea. You know, it's beautiful that you can be like the person that brings people together because you have time and you want to, you know, host and you want to extend invitations because other people just do not have the time. You can really hone on slow living. Before we go, we had a exercise. We didn't even come to that part about the cooking part and Monday, Tuesday, Friday. We will do that on next Tuesday because I was talking so much that I'm running out of time. Also, I want you to have a influential person that you look up to when it comes to being a housewife. For me, I love Martha Stewart, but I also like Brie van der Kamp, and she's fictional because she is from Desperate Housewives. But they really make me work harder and do my best and be better. So I want you to search for a housewife. It doesn't matter who it is, maybe known, unknown, but somebody who was so influential that you want us as a group to know, so that because you might think that this person might be helpful to us, and maybe they wrote a book, or maybe they had an interview somewhere, or maybe it's just your mom or your aunt or your grandmother. You know, it's very important that we know our history, the women that became before us, that we stay into gratitude and appreciation, and we don't forget these women and what they have, you know, attributed to society. And somebody like Katherine Jackson, Michael Jackson's his mother, and what she has done for the Jackson 5, and her traits of being a housewife and sewing and making all the clothes. And these are the women that should not be forgotten because they didn't have a job or a title outside of the home. You know, it can be a first lady of a church. You know, I think it's important that we understand the women that are not being seen because they are not getting paid. There are not titles. You don't need a degree for this. So I want you to really bring names so that we can do research on them, read up on them, and think about these women every day when we get up. Why are we doing this? What does it mean? What is the privilege of being at home with your children and your husband, your home, the importance of having a home and keeping the home neat, structured, organized, everything in order, that it's a honor to have a home and take care of your home, what it represents to the outside world, why it is important to be neat, because it's an invitation. People will see you, they will judge you upon how your home is being kept, your garden, all that stuff, what you wear, the makeup you have on your face. These things are very important because you will be judged for it. I have to go. Last 3 things. I was at a department store yesterday because my makeup is finished. If you know and you've been here for a while, I was using Estee Lauder, the new Formula foundation, and I was using Brandy by Hourglass, the concealer. Yesterday I was at the Hourglass counter at the Bijenkorf. It's a department store here in the Netherlands, and I wanted to buy the Hourglass concealer, replaced the old one I had, and I wanted to buy Estee Lauder. But there was a nice gentleman working at the counter. His name is John. John was a head makeup artist or something for Hourglass, so he's very influential and powerful within the brand. And they were doing a kind of a press run through the Netherlands. He was from the UK, and he was, you know, marketing their new foundation. It's called Illusion, Hourglass Illusion Luminous Glow Foundation. So this is what I'm using. I hope you like my makeup. I think it looks gorgeous. Also, finally, I have bought the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Palette Volume 3 just for my contour, my highlight. It's beautiful. I love it. Probably will do something with this, but it will be on my Instagram or on YouTube short. And I'm happy that he was so impressed by me and how I looked, and he was like, if I need a model one day, I'm gonna ask you, or we can work together. But I think, how can we use Hourglass to our advantage? And maybe, because I didn't say that yet, I also want to bring on makeup artists to show us how to do our makeup glamorously as a housewife, but maybe for daytime, meaning that shortcuts but still look put together, glamorized. So I want to work with professional makeup artists, and so that they can show us shortcuts, how to still look put together, but not spending a lot of time in the morning because of maybe the lack of time, you have children or whatever the case may be. So I'm thinking Scott Barnes, I'm thinking Sam Fine, I'm thinking Chica Daily, I'm thinking is it TLC Devo, who does Fantasia her makeup, and her makeup is always flawless. So please think with me, who wants to do housewife makeup, or even the original makeup artist from Desperate Housewives, because their makeup was flawless, and that was ages ago. So I gotta go. I've gotta run. I love you. I wish you a happy weekend. Think about all the things we discussed here today. Don't forget the exercise for next week, because there's already 2 exercises, meaning why do you want to be a housewife? Who is very influential to you? Who inspires you? Who motivates you? And the exercise that we had for today, and that is finishing up your cooking schedule, so that you have the recipes and we can finally bind them into a book and make a little cookbook. I have to run. I have to take the children from school. I love you. Thank you so much for being here again. I'm doing my best to make sure that this platform or this organization becomes as big as it can be, but I need your help. So like I always say, the best things in life are free. So like and subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to share with other housewives, so that we can meet up and be friends and grow this group out to really be in a club, a society where we as sisters come together as fellow housewives, and we can share experiences, make each other better, learn from one another, connect with one another, so that we can really, you know, be a bond, a sisterhood. And when times are rough or you're facing challenges, that you know that you can count on your sisters, because they understand what you're going through, because we are all housewives and we can talk to one another, uplift one another, support, love, embrace one another when needed. Don't forget to also bring your contribution. Make sure you leave in the comments what you want to see, what you want to know, or if you have any ideas or suggestions for the channel, or interviews or things we can do outside this channel. Let us know. If you have people who want to donate to the club, let me know so we can set it up correctly, and have some lawyers, even though my girl Snooze is a lawyer by trade. Yes, we went to law school together, but maybe she can help find a way how we can correctly take donations from people. We can add chair members. How do you go? Chair members or board members. I don't know how it exactly goes, but we can grow as large as we possibly can grow. Now I really overstayed because school's already out, but everything, leave it in the comments. Make sure you reach out to brands YSL, Hourglass, other brands that want to support housewives, that want to work with us, give us PR, sponsorships, or whatever. Invite the housewives to brand events so that we can see how it will work for us. Makeup, fashion, cookware, house, all things house decor, pots, pans, cleaning, Dyson, it doesn't matter. Make sure you reach out to these brands so we can work, because we are the ones that are really using this stuff every single day. I love you. I see you on Thursday, 10 a.m.